when you look at those who are attacking and you look at those who are being killed, I would simply connect what's happening to the age-long or to the failed jihad campaign of Utman and Fodio in the Middle Belt. That basically is what is being resurrected by the Fulani Islamists. Let me put it this way. It is a region where a certain group of people believe they have a certain entitlement by virtue of their religious ideology to subjugate. Our forefathers fought this kind of battle at some point, where a group believes, by virtue of their ideology or their feeling of superiority over a certain group, they would have to subjugate you, or if they meet any resistance, they would have to kill as many as they could kill. The story where people talk about a crisis between farmers and herders, intercommunal, and all of that, we are not denying the fact that 0.9% they are coming against a group that is Christian, and 99.9% they are Fulani people. Of course, the Middle Belt it cuts across all kinds of people, Christians, Muslims, different tribes. But when you look at what's happening, you would understand that it is simply a jihadist, expansionist agenda. And it is being carried out by this Fulani Islamist militia. And that basically is the cause. Because if we just want to trace it back to farmer-herder clash, how do you explain a situation where men, women, children, young and old, are being killed? Sometimes you break a door and you spray a woman with 4 or 5 kids with bullets and you move to the next door, to the next place. And the kinds of demands that are being made as an exchange for peace by these killers gives you an idea that it is actually not a clash, but as an expansionist mission, basically a follow-up to the failed jihad of Fodio. That basically is what it is.
Okay.
The sponsors of these killings are not so complex or difficult to locate. I am an indigen of Kaduna State, and I will start by mentioning one name, Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi.
Are you?
In the beginning, he condemned.
Sorry.
Listen.
I'm going to ask you, do you have proof of that? Can you defend that? Can you defend it?
Okay, let me put it this way to you, because knowledge starts from common sense to the complex. In Kaduna State, you would remember that the people we are dealing with have demonstrated the capability of shooting down even military aircrafts. They have demonstrated that. They have attacked the Nigerian Defense Academy. They have done all kinds of evil in southern Kaduna at some point. And there was a point in Nigeria where one cleric, Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi, was interfacing with them. From interfacing with them as a way of trying to be an intermediary, he began to speak on their behalf. We have seen a video where he sat down and was educating them. He told them that among the Nigerian military, the army, there are Muslims and there are Christians. It is the Christians in the army that are aggressive against them and not the Muslims. A statement like that coming from a man who should be a religious figure to a terrorist organization leaves more questions than answers. And unless we want to be politically correct, we should know where that is coming from. This man came during the 2023 campaign and openly said, any leader that demonstrates as a part of his policy to arm the military to kill these terrorists must not be voted. This same man has been seen interfacing with them. At some point he said they are here to stay. They are not going anywhere. I am talking to you about people who have killed over 400 people. In 2022, I keep making reference to that, 2022 May. Over 400 people were killed in Mangu.
So thank you so much. For you, Zari, you feel that this is a continuum of an expansionist agenda by certain tribes. Am I correct?
That's right. You are correct.
Okay, I'll leave you for a moment. I'd like to bring Reverend Hayes into this. For you, what do you consider the root cause of this?
Thank you very much. So that we don't repeat ourselves, the first speaker have actually kick-start the conversation. One thing is clear: this clashes or this killing is not farmers herders. The use of nomenclature or the caption farmers herders is just a simple way of diverting attention. And that's one of the reasons why it's been difficult also to address the issue. Because those who sell this idea that it's the farmers herders actually just do it for purposes of development work, but they don't understand what exactly is the matter. If we do proper assessment or proper needs assessment, we will see that there is nothing farmers herders. Farmers and herders have lived together for a long time. They've had misunderstanding, and they settle it. We don't know herders or farmers carrying sophisticated weapon and going to kill. Tell me a man who comes into a village and wipe out women, wipe out children. Where is the farm? Where are the herders in this context? So I want to buttress that point he has raised. But I think another reason that I feel the crisis has been going is because there's a failure on the side of government to take action against those who torment our citizens. You see, once there is a killing, someone comes into a community, kill your citizens, destroy their homes, destroy their farms, and just go away, and nobody ever arrested and brought or bring to justice. So this kind of rubbish will continue to happen. The other side of it is that there is a problem of land grabbing. Let's be honest with ourselves about this. In most of these lands, the other day I was traveling through the Northeast and I saw how greenish the land is. And I asked myself this question: why should Fulani come in around Cameroon and around Northeast and do not stop there to actually take grass and come into the Middle Belt? For what? And you can see the simple thing is they want to grab land. They want to take over land. There's vast land there that whether...
Reverend Hayes, are you there? I think we, of course, lost connection with him. Once we have him back, we'll bring him on. But let's hear from Frank Uto. Frank, you are Yelwata indigene. You are, from Benue State. You reside there. And this issue, we know that also spans into your area. What do you, for instance, in Benue State, consider the root cause?
Thank you very much for having me. Just like the Reverend said, the first speaker has so encapsulated everything that has been the root cause. We don't need to keep repeating ourselves. This thing has been well established over time. In the last 12 years, I've been an integral part of this. I'm an authority in this area. Right now, this is part of what I'm doing also at the University of Central Oklahoma in the U.S.
So sorry to interrupt you. So you feel it's also an expansionist agenda. Is that what you're saying?
Extremely. Look, we are dealing with people who are galvanized by an ideology that seeks to dominate, that seeks to conquer. And this is the ideology that has been driving these people all this while. They are coming under what some of their sponsors. Anytime you hear anybody say call this genocide, this terrorism, this act of domination as farmer header crisis, just know that that person is one of the sponsors, because they are elites who are in government, who are in the traditional institutions, who are in the political and business class. They always use this generalization of farmer header crisis or this.
To interrupt, but you are saying that this talk of farmers headers clash is just a facade to cover up something maybe more sinister. Is that what you're saying?
My brother, it's a euphemism.
Okay.
We've passed that stage where we'll be massaging anybody's ego, or we'll be trying to, impress some other people by trying to hide the truth. Because that is what our political leaders do. They try to be politically correct, so they try to hide the truth so that they can impress their allies or their sponsors. But we've reached a stage where we will have to look truth in the eye and say this is truth. My brother, what's been happening, there's never been anything like farmers headers crisis. Maybe in the initial days, that's prior to 2010, there was something like that. But because they've been holding this as an excuse. In Benue, for instance, in 2017, the entirety of the populace of Benue sat down to say, look, we have to enact for ourselves a law that will govern, that will create a solution to what these people are calling farmer-sellers crisis. And so we gave for ourselves a law on open grazing prohibition. Do you know, to establish a ranch is quite very cheap, actually. All you need to do is to get lease a land and fence the land and then feed your cattle between that barricade. You know, so, but these people, because their aspiration is not really grazing, their aspiration is to conquer and to dominate and to take over. They refused. Do you know that, okay, in the attack in my village, the attack of June 13 rather, and June 14th, these people came with over 100 AK-47. Do you know, my brother, that 3 AK-47 can give you a very good ranch? The price for 3 AK-47, for instance, because an AK-47 go for about 3 billion in Nigerian naira. 9 million can give you a very good ranch. You know, but these people's aim is to conquer our land, to extend the jihad of the 19th century beyond our land and dip the Quran in the sea. That is exactly what's been happening. And that is why when they came to attack us on June 13 and June 14, they were reciting the globally recognized slogan and motto of terrorists. Unfortunately, they were shouting Allah Akbar from beginning to end. For the 4 hours they were operating. Can you call that a farmer-header crisis? Can you call that a clash? My sister, Ngodo Mary, who they doused with fuel and slaughter and kill her on that day, was she fighting anybody? My brother Osoja Ipakia, who was doused with fuel with his 4-year-old son and macheted and killed, was he fighting anybody? But while they were killing these guys, they were shouting Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. And unfortunately, we know that this phrase, which in Arabic means God is great, has unfortunately been used by global Islamic jihadists as their slogan, as their motto. And they only use that in any event that is meant to accentuate, to expand Islam. So let's tell ourselves the truth. Like I keep referring to the genocide of Yerota over June. When they came, they stopped over in Giza a day earlier. Giza is a neighboring town in Kiana local government of Nasarawa State. They had their prayers there. They recited all they could recite before going to kill in Yerota. They were dedicating it to God. To the God they served. So I want to say, and I want to say categorically, that there's extremely, absolutely nothing like farmer-header crisis. What we're witnessing is a systematic jihad with the aim of dipping the Quran in the sea.
But,
and you know,
sorry to interrupt you, Frank. I'm still staying with you, but are there also, you know, could there be instances of maybe a resource control too? Because we also know that some of these areas have natural resources that are of, you know, quantum economic value. Could that also be a reason, you know, for some of these attacks that we see?
Okay, so from the angle of conspiracy theories, I've heard that perspective too of resource control. But so far we don't have those kind of resources yet in our area. And but before, even now, that has always been the agenda of conquest. So anybody who is bringing the resource control part of it, we cannot completely divorce it. But so far, that has not been the case. We are talking of exactly what we know, you know. And when you're talking, yes, we are talking of exactly what we know. And let me tell you one truth. Do you know, in many cases, we've been arresting our attackers. In many cases, with our mere den guns and machetes, we do bring 1 or 2 of our attackers down. So we've been hearing confessions. I'm telling you that in the last 12 years, starting from 2015, I've heard directly from not less than 10 of our attackers. We'll be arresting some.
What did they tell you? Frank, briefly, what did they tell you? Briefly, what were you told from the confessions you had from the attackers?
Yeah, from the confession is the issue of domination, conquering the town, moving us southwards, and taking over our land. And let me tell you, right now as we speak, you see, Yerwata is on the highway between Makurdi and Lafia. It's the center line between Makurdi and Lafia. That's 51 kilometers to Makurdi, 49 kilometers to Lafia. So we're just directly in the middle of Makurdi and Lafia. Okay, if you go like starting from a kilometer into the hinterland, into the bushes, up to 5, 6, 7, 8 kilometers. Many of these thief settlements have been desolate. They've been left, they've been vacated, and many of their guys are in the IDP camps. Do you know that right now, as we speak, Fulanis have taken over these thief settlements? They are right now occupying the bedrooms of thief people. They are using their kitchen.
All right.
They brought their kids. So is that former Hera crisis? That is domination. That is conquest.
All right, Frank, I will leave you for a moment. I know you have a lot to say, Frank. Thank you so much. I'm still going to come back to you, but let me take this conversation back to Zari Yusuf. Yusuf, you opened the floor by saying what you consider the root cause, and other speakers seem to have built on it. But I'm going to go back to some of the things Frank said. He said many of these attackers use sophisticated weapons like the AK-47. He even put a monetary value to it at about 3 million naira a piece, if I'm correct, referring to him. But I'm going to also look at it from the angle of tracing the sponsors. Because if you look at some of the pictures or images of these attackers, you would wonder how they're able to even have access to such funds. So I would like you to speak on that in terms of the angle of the sponsors. Why has it, over the years, seemed to be somewhat evasive when it comes to tracing them?
I think the sponsors of these killings are not so complex or difficult to locate. I am an indigen of Kaduna State, and I will start by mentioning one name, Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi.
Are you?
In the beginning, he condemned...
Sorry.
Listen.
I'm going to ask you, do you have proof of that? Can you defend that? Can you defend it?
Okay, let me put it this way to you, because knowledge starts from common sense to the complex. In Kaduna State, you would remember that the people we are dealing with have demonstrated the capability of shooting down even military aircrafts. They have demonstrated that. They have attacked the Nigerian Defense Academy. They have done all kinds of evil in southern Kaduna at some point. And there was a point in Nigeria where one cleric, Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi, was interfacing with them. From interfacing with them as a way of trying to be an intermediary, he began to speak on their behalf. We have seen a video where he sat down and was educating them. He told them that among the Nigerian military, the army, there are Muslims and there are Christians. It is the Christians in the army that are aggressive against them and not the Muslims. A statement like that coming from a man who should be a religious figure to a terrorist organization leaves more questions than answers. And unless we want to be politically correct, we should know where that is coming from. This man came during the 2023 campaign and openly said, any leader that demonstrates as a part of his policy to arm the military to kill these terrorists must not be voted. This same man has been seen interfacing with them. At some point he said they are here to stay. They are not going anywhere. I am talking to you about people who have killed over 400 people. In 2022, I keep making reference to that, 2022 May. Over 400 people were killed in Mangu. Women were raped. I went to Apa local government and I saw how many communities have been deserted completely. They have been completely deserted. And these Fulani jihadists left scouts in that area, such that the very moment there is any attempt either by the local people to go back and get their food or go back to access something, they alert the fighters and they come. I almost lost my life in that, but thank God for the military in that regard that just went for a rescue. But it's a very dangerous situation. So for somebody like Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi, his position on the terrorists and his strict opposition to taking any aggressive response against them leaves nothing in question. So when you ask a question about who sponsors it, we don't have to dig deep. There is no ground whatsoever for anybody to speak on behalf of an Islamist group, and then we want to divorce the sponsorship of it from him. That's one. Secondly, the body language of the governors of northern Nigeria has demonstrated that they are more willing to create a scenario of pardoning and giving incentives to terrorists than eliminating them. You see, the major problem we have is that ethnic and religious biases or ethnic and religious ties of most of the politicians and Islamic clerics we have in the northern part of the country has made it difficult for us to separate whether it is peace they want to establish or it is a terrorist they are pampering.
All right, Yusuf, I stumbled into a video. I'll come back to you. I'll definitely come back to you. I sincerely apologize for interrupting you, but we need to go on a quick break. When we return, would also consider the role of the security in all of this. We've seen monies being spent, resources deployed, but why are we still here and talking about this again? Stay with us, we'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on New Central Television. I still have my guest with me. Zari Yusuf is the former National Coordinator, Middle Belt Patriots. Reverend John Hayab is the Chairman of the Northern Christian Association of Nigeria, and Frank Uto, Yelwata Indigen. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. Now, before we went on that break, I'm coming back to you, Zari Yusuf. I'd like you to sort of complete your line of thought, but I'd also want you to speak on if at all, the role of socioeconomic groups like the popular, I'm trying to remember that group, Miyeti Allah, thank you so much, for their role in all of this. Do you think, because there have been, positions that maybe ranching can solve, this issue, do you think that all of this, can sort of, in a way, manage this situation?
Quickly round up with regards to sponsorship. So I did mention Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi. At least in terms of the narrative, he has always been on the side of covering up these terrorists. While Nasir El-Rufai was governor of Kaduna State, whatever intelligence came to his disposal that he was able to trace the killers of then southern Kaduna was the hotbed. However, he was able to trace them to Chad, Mali, or whatsoever, and whatever part of our resources he took and said he compensated them with, which he went around TV station gloating about it, only God knows. So when we talk about, because the belief, especially from southern Kaduna, is that the sophistication of those attacks came after somebody said he compensated them. Because we can't keep playing games with the truth. We are talking about people's lives, we are talking about women being violated and all of that. So yes, it is not sophisticated or complex to know who the sponsors and the supporters of Islamism in Nigeria are. Now, with regards to Miyeti Allah was a group, or is a group, that was bold enough under General Muhammadu Buhari's regime to claim responsibility for massacres on the plateau in Benue and all of that. Once that happens, Miyeti Allah has a demand for ranching, which Buhari kept attempting to do under different names, either water resource bills, either ranching, either Ruga settlements, and all of that. The tactics Miyeti Allah is employing is simple. It is a jihadist movement. But what they want to do is to appear as people who by default of their nature and tradition, they don't have a home, and so they are the responsibility of the government. What they are trying to do is to be adopted by the Nigerian government as a pet project. And then they will now be carried as a liability on the Commonwealth of the Middle Belt and sustained and protected by the government with our own resources. So in other words, while the thief man in Benue uses his money to buy 1, 2, 3 plots of land to run his poultry or his fishery, another one would get his brothers from Niger, from Chad, from Mali, armed with AK-47, come and rape his wife, kill his children, destroy his crops, and then tell the government the only way to resolve this matter is to carve this, thousands of hectares. If you have had a look at the demands for setting up, the ranches, you would understand, quite frankly, it is an expansionist agenda that is meant to be championed by the use of state powers. So that is basically the economic dimension of it. In other words, we want to prosecute our war of dominance by using state powers. Because clearly, if they come in, it's not exactly as if the Middle Belt is a region they have ever conquered. The subjugation of the Middle Belt, especially politically, came with with colonial powers.
All right.
And what is basically happening, especially the suppression of the peoples of the Middle Belt from resisting and fighting for their lives, comes because the agencies of the government that should protect people suppresses the Middle Beltans from defending themselves against these killers.
All right, now talking about agencies of government, sorry, I have
it's
to
a terrorist organization.
That's Zareen Yusuf. Talking about agencies of government, I'm going to direct my question to Reverend John. Now, Reverend, let's look at the role of security personnel in all of this. I've said this on several platforms, right? I did my NYSC 2009, 2010 in Jos, and I also saw crisis firsthand. And I know, what it feels like to run for your life, to not be sure of seeing the next day, to visit a friend, and when you are not sure, and not being sure whether you will return back to your home safely. So, and I also saw security personnel all over the place, yet crisis, attacks still persisted. So what is the missing link here? Do we have a situation whereby these people are maybe underfunded, underarmed, undertrained, or are they just, overwhelmed?
This way, in the first place, we have to admit that security in Nigeria have been compromised to a large extent. I remember very well when a former minister gave to Mieti Allah over 100 billion. Nigerians must not forget that. So how can you secure a country where you are giving people who are already terrorizing fellow citizens such huge amount? Two, there is a trust deficit between government and the people, and most especially between the people and security agencies. Listening to the comments by colleagues on this platform are saying, I'm from Kaduna State, I am of Southern Kaduna extraction, I know what I saw during the previous government of El-Rufai and others, if one can mention name, how people were killed, homes destroyed, lives completely shattered. And when you even run to government to complain, instead of government show her might to protect you as a citizen, government will in turn accuse you of raising tension because government just wants you to speak nice language, being politically correct. Well, you know that your father has been killed, your neighbor has been killed, children were slaughtered, and there was no concrete step by government to do. But is it a complete practice every day? There are some changes we are seeing, but we have to admit that certain things went wrong. And I keep repeating this, that until our security agencies win the trust of the people, honestly speaking, they can't fight this because the people don't even trust them to share with them what they are seeing.
Why do you think, Reverend, why do you think the people don't trust the security?
Yeah, because of certain practices that people experienced in the past, and security have not made deliberate effort to. I've seen a situation where, as one of our speakers said, there is a killing, and for 1 hour, the terrorists will have a field day, burning houses, killing women and children. No, the distance between the security checkpoint and where the evil is being done is not up to 1 kilometer or up to 3 kilometers. But once the evil is being done, at that time they will become deaf and dumb. They will no longer hear. They will no longer talk. They will not act until when the criminals have killed destroy and disappear. Then they will come trying to demonstrate that they are showing that they have come to rescue the people. Then they will arrest innocent people. How will people not think that they have compromised? I remember that General T.Y. Danjuma had to publicly one of these years say that, look, this thing is being happening with the collusion of our security agencies. So communities that I come from have testified that they know this. In the past, I used to argue when people would tell me that they will see strange aircraft throwing food in the bush, I was thinking it's not possible. But evidence have shown that it has been happening. How can you have aircraft flying in communities and throwing food to some faceless people in the bush and nobody knows about it, nobody arrests them, nobody arrests the aircraft? No, something is wrong here.
Viewers all over the world, and welcome back to Local Journal. It is very obvious that what is happening in the Middle Belt is the continuation of Usman Dan Fodio jihadist agenda, and that is why the Fulanis are doing everything they want to do to conquer and to annex the Middle Belt and make it their own, because they can't see there is a famous headers clash, because originally the Fulanis are not from Nigeria, not to talk of even coming from Middle Belt. And even if we're talking about fresh vegetation for their cows to eat or to feed on, they have so many of those in the far northern areas, but these people have their agenda in the Middle Belt, and that is the reason why they want to continue from where this man stopped. So what is happening in the Middle Belt is a continuum of Usman Dan Fodio ideology to impose jihad on the people of the Middle Belt. You know, he failed in imposition of jihad in the Middle Belt, and that is the reason why they are trying everything they can to ensure that they complete their plan. But this time it's still going to fail, because that land does not belong to them. You can't come to people's ancestral land and try to sack them and impose your own religion and take over everything that belongs to them because you feel you are superior. These superiority muscles the Fulanis are flexing is deceiving them to a very high extent, and to be very honest, until we tell them that enough is enough, they are not going to stop anytime soon, because they have the backings of high and mighty in this country, and that is the reason why they are doing anything they want to do. And if we listen very well to the speakers in the video, we'll know that they spoke everything and they exposed everything these people are up to. These guys are up to a very sinister agenda, and nobody should allow them to actualize this agenda, because if they can defeat and conquer the Middle Belt, they will continue to expand it to the south, to the far south, and before you know, the whole of Nigeria will be captured and it will become an enclave of the Fulanis. It is high time we call up their bluff and tell them that enough is enough. This can't continue to happen like this, because we are not in a banana republic. We are not in a Fulani republic. This country belongs to everybody, and it's not meant for them. In the first place, they are not even from Nigeria. So why would they come to Nigeria to lord over other ethnic groups in Nigeria, and who are originally inhabitants of Nigeria before they came into Nigeria? So why would the Fulani come and lord over them? It is not possible. It will never happen, and it's not going to happen. Kindly drop what you have to say in the comment section, and if today is your first time to visit our channel, please kindly like, share and subscribe to our channel.